Before we get started, I have a quick favor. I've been self-funding the Finding Genius podcast for 5 years now. I've done over 3,000 episodes. And as you can see on YouTube, we're up over 1 million views on the channel, which is fantastic. The next thing I really want to push on is to get up to 10,000 subscribers. Because once we do, we'll be able to put a donate button and we'll be able to solicit donations to help keep the podcast running and to also get the Finding Genius Foundation moving along. We have a big project studying anxiety, depression, and PTSD and working on a product to help people overcome these problems because I've seen them explode recently after the last 2 years of the whole virus situation. So if you would, please subscribe to the podcast. That would help us tremendously. Give us a thumbs up and check in the description for Buy Me a Coffee. It's about $5. If you could buy me a coffee, I'd really appreciate it. It would help keep the channel going, and I love coffee. Thank you.
Forget frequently asked questions.
Common sense, common knowledge, or Google.
How about advice from a real genius? 95% of people in any profession are good enough to be qualified and licensed. 5%
Go above and beyond.
they become very good at what they do, but only
0.1%.
are real geniuses. Richard Jacobs has made it his life's mission to find them for you. He hunts down and interviews geniuses in every field: sleep science, cancer, stem cells, ketogenic diets, and more. Here come the geniuses. This is the Finding Genius Podcast.
With Richard Jacobs.
Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Finding Genius podcast. My guest today is Attorney Lem Garcia. We're going to talk about how empathy can and is reshaping personal injury law. Lem is the founder of Lem Garcia Law. So welcome to the podcast, Lem. Thanks for coming.
For having me on.
Yeah. Let's tell me a little bit about your background. What got you into personal injury law? And then how did your approach to it change over the years?
Well, I opened my practice just by myself in 2014. And I was accepting all kinds of cases to start. But then the first, big case settled after maybe 6 months to a year. And it was a decent settlement, $30,000. And I thought from there on, just, let me focus on personal injury cases. That's where most of the calls were coming from. That's where my time was most efficient. And I decided just to focus 100% on personal injury and just focus on getting the reviews for personal injury. Don't do anything else. Just get really good at that one thing. And since then, it's just been going up, like just getting a lot of clients, getting more reviews, getting more business. And it's just been, a nice ride so far.
Well, what part of personal injury do you focus on? Auto accidents or med mal or workers' comp?
Well, we handle mostly car accidents. I would say 95% of our practice is car accidents. We handle some slip and fall, some dog bites, don't do any med mal. So mostly motor vehicle accidents.
Okay. So what have you noticed about the condition of the people that come to you? So all the attorneys I've seen in personal injury, they're always focused on the amounts, the compensation. Let us get you the compensation you deserve. I've gotten over $1 billion from my clients, that kind of thing. Is the money the number one thing that clients want when they come to you, or is it something else?
The money is, of course, very important. We don't want to lose sight of that because their compensation is what they're there for. But they're also there to get taken care of. They want to have someone guide them from start to finish, letting them know that everything's going to be okay, that they're in the right hands, and so that they have peace of mind that just from beginning to end that they're going to be taken care of, that if they have any concerns, any questions, that we're happy to answer them and that we make time for them and we're always available to, just to give them that peace of mind that they're looking for.
Yeah. Do you have clients ask you for things that you'll say, oh, I'm sorry, that's not in my scope of practice, such as, I'm having these problems with my car since the accident and I don't know how to deal with the insurance and blah, blah, blah. I've heard a lot of personal injury, attorneys say, well, the car part, you deal with your insurance and all that. I don't really deal with that part. I deal with the medical side and those injuries. Is that what you do in your practice, or do you try to do like an overall approach where you help them with everything going on with their case?
I would say that we help them with everything going on in their case as far as the property damage. So in a car accident case, there's the property damage and the bodily injury, right? And the property damage claim, we're not always representing them for that portion, but we're there to answer any and all questions that they have so that they can make sure that they get their car fixed or get compensated what they should. For some of the clients that really need our help and they don't know what to do and they can't navigate it on their own, we do handle the property damage claim also. But I think a lot of times it's just easier for everybody if they handle that portion. And then the bodily injury claim, that's what we focus on. But we're there to answer questions. We make the time and give everyone our energy so that they can get the best help that they can.
Yeah, you talked about bringing empathy to the process. So Did you feel like the process was not empathetic to your clients, or did they voice concerns earlier on? Like, how did that come onto your radar?
I think just at the very beginning, it was my idea to bring that compassion and that empathy to clients from the start. When I opened the practice, I wanted to deliver a service that was essentially better than what was out there. I thought, I'm starting out, I have to do something better than everybody else. So delivering that client service, giving them the time, the energy, and really just talking them through everything was the focus. Deliver the service, and then the results will come after that. So I think empathy from the very beginning was a huge part, because ultimately client service and getting results comes down to really being empathetic, really not just feeling, I wouldn't say, feeling bad for them, but really just sharing their problems with them so that you can best help them. Because if you really understand what they're going through and you feel with them, then you can really answer the question, what is it?
Yeah, we have an answering service we run for a while, and I can see a lot of the attorneys just default to interrogating the person. It's like personal injury. They'll call, I was in an accident and this and that happened, and now my back hurts me every day and I can't sleep. And they're like, okay, what's your name? What's your this? What's your insurance? It turns into like, I don't care about what happened to you. Just give me the information and I'll get you the attorney. And the whole process kind of, I guess the best way to put it, there is no empathy. It's just like, fill in this form, and they're not addressing the person's situation. What are your thoughts on that kind of treatment? Is that what you've seen when you say that, you try to do better?
Yeah, that's what I think that I saw back when I opened up. The firm that I had exposure to, they were just like, well, if we can't take their case, we don't want to help them, and we want to turn them away. We don't want to advertise that, hey, let's give us a call. If we can't help you, we'll still give you advice and give you direction. Like, I spoke to other law firm owners, other attorneys, and about their marketing. And I said, hey, why don't you market that way and say, hey, like, we'll just be here for you as a resource if you have any questions or concerns. And a lot of times they would just tell me, like, well, we don't want to waste time with clients that we're not going to represent. And I thought, that's really unfortunate, because people really need help and they're not all going to be clients. So I saw that as kind of a way to have an in on the market and really help people out that way. Is like, hey, give us a call. If we can take your case, great. But if we can't, we'll still help you as much as we can and give you advice and the information that you're looking for. Because the way that you mention it, it just sounds like it's so transactional, and the clients ultimately, I don't think, are really looking for that kind of interaction with their attorney. They want to have someone that really listens to them, that really cares for them, and really is looking out for their best interest rather than how big their case is.
Yeah, I had an issue with, my neighbor and the fence, and I called a bunch of, property or real estate attorneys and spoke to them. And one guy I spoke to, I'm telling him stuff, and I'm kind of like, getting angry at what's happened. And he goes, can we just get through this? And I was like, seriously? And at that moment, I was like, all right, never hiring you. We're done. Because he just didn't care about, like, I wasn't sitting there bending his ear for an hour, but for 2-3 minutes, I wanted to tell him, what I thought, what I felt. And he was like, nope. So I was like, all right, not hiring you. Finished. So I think that may be a good example of from the other side, from the client side, what it may feel like if someone's not treated well with just zero regard.
Yeah, I think that happens far too often, where an attorney just sees what they're doing as strictly as a business. Oh, can this person become a client? Can I make some money from this person? Versus, how can I help this person? How can I be of service to the public? And when you're a business owner, I think there's a balancing act with that. You don't want to spend too much time where there's not going to be a return. But then also, I think there needs to be more of a focus on just being a place where the public can turn to for help. And I think, attorneys are in a great position to provide that service to the public.
Have you had people, you've been nice to them, empathetic and all that. I'm sure you've had some that have gone away and never hired you, but have you had some that have come back? Now they go to other attorneys, or they spend some time thinking, and they come back to you, and, has that happened? And if so, what do people say?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I think that's really how the office was built, was off of phone calls like that, where people had cases where I couldn't take the case, but I still listened to them and I gave them the advice or help and information that they were looking for. And they just really had someone that would listen to them. A lot of times people would call and say, well, you know what, I wish you could take my case, but I really thank you for hearing me out and giving me some information, or even just, giving me the number of someone else that could help. it turns out that a lot of attorneys don't even give referrals out to other attorneys that they know that could help, or once they know that they can't take the case, they just either, I mean, I've heard that they just hang up, they just, oh, we can't help, and then hang up, or, just really abrupt action. I mean, I get it. Attorneys are busy and have a lot to do, but at the same time, people are coming to you for help. And when people come to you for help, you have to show up.
I mean, have you seen a significant number of people come back? Maybe some their circumstance and,
Yeah, absolutely. So the people that I do help by just giving them information, I've had several clients at the beginning where they would say, you know what, I really enjoyed our conversation when I spoke to you. I don't know if you remember, maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, and I saved your number. I saved your number in case I ever needed your help. And then you said that you had all accidents, and here I am. I was involved in an accident. So, can you help me out? And that's happened numerous times. So you really have an opportunity with every phone call to make a connection with the person. If you make that connection, then they'll remember you, and then they'll save you into their phone. And then if something does happen to them, they'll give you a call so that they can get the help that they're looking for.
Before we continue, I've been personally funding the Finding Genius podcast for 4.5 years now, which has led to 2,700 plus interviews of clinicians, researchers, scientists, CEOs, and other amazing people who are working to advance science and improve our lives and our world. Even though this podcast gets 100,000 plus downloads a month, we need your help to reach hundreds of thousands more worldwide. Please visit findinggeniuspodcast.com and click on Support Us. We have 3 levels of membership from $10 to $49 a month, including perks such as the ability to see ahead in our interview calendar and ask questions of upcoming guests, transcripts of podcasts you're interested in, the ability to request specific topics or guests, and more. Visit findinggeniuspodcast.com and click Support Us today. Now back to the show.
Oh, that's really great. That's excellent. So you've gotten referral. I mean, you've gotten people coming back after X number of months, and now they're hiring you. Have you gotten referrals from it where they told a friend or a family member or someone and that person hired you?
Yeah, that has happened quite a few times as well. They save their number or save our number, and then when someone they know needs help, they say, I spoke to this attorney. He handles accidents. You should give him a call. Person calls and they say, hey, so-and-so gave me your number, and it turned out that we helped them out or just gave them some information, and they're happy to get our services because they know that, that I was so helpful on the phone with them when I knew that they didn't have a case that we could take. And if it doesn't even lead to a referral or them, calling in for as a client, a lot of times if you just talk to people, hear them out, give them any kind of advice, they're so thankful they want to do something. So then they'll leave a review online or even multiple reviews.
Oh, you've gotten positive reviews from people that haven't even been your client.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's cool.
Well, thankful, and they feel indebted. They want to do something. Say, well, you gave me 15 minutes of your time. Let me do something. And then they leave a review. And some of their reviews are probably the most, like sparkling reviews online.
That's really cool. Have you, I don't know if you do a newsletter, but have you thought about asking people if they're okay to be sent your email newsletter, for instance, like once a month? Because that might be something, if you add it in, could be another way to just keep reminding these people that, if they know someone in their life that needs help, maybe it'll increase your referrals.
Yeah, a newsletter that really provided value to the client would be a great idea. We have emails that go out, and this kind of just a quick email that gives them a tip or some kind of friendly greeting at a holiday. But I think a newsletter that really provides them with some value and it's a nice, quick, easy read could provide tremendous value to the firm.
What I like about what you're doing is you're monetizing people that aren't even clients. It may take time, but every call you take that leads to some kind of consult, that sounds like has a much higher chance now because of how you've treated people, of bringing money back to you in the future, through referral, direct, case with them, positive review, which will get more people to call you, et cetera. It seems like a really great virtuous circle just because you have empathy.
Yeah, I think so. I really believe in you reap what you sow. And if you're out there just giving advice and helping people out, like the more people that you help, the more seeds that you're planting, and those seeds will eventually grow into something positive.
Who sees you do this besides the potential clients? Like, I don't know if you have staff that sees you act in this way, or other attorneys you speak to, maybe you've told them about this. Like, who have you, again, who has seen you do this, or you've spoken to about it, and have they given you any feedback, positive or negative?
Yeah, the team, my staff over here, they're 100% behind it, and they do the same thing. Because I'm not talking to every potential client that calls. There's other attorneys here that speak to them, or staff members that, just provide them with information, and they do the same thing. From top to bottom, anyone that answers the phone, we're all friendly, approachable, and we help out where we can. If we can't help out, then we give a referral to somebody who hopefully can help. When I talk to other attorneys about what we do, they say, wow, you guys have the time to do that. And I just tell them yeah, wow, you don't have the time, you should make the time to do it.
Well, so you give referrals occasionally to other attorneys that can help the person when you can't.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We have a list of other attorneys that handle other types of law, and we just, make sure they do good work, and we refer them out.
You get reciprocity from the other attorneys that you refer to? Like, do they tend to refer more to you?
I think we probably more refer out than comes here. We get a good number of potential clients in all areas of law, and we make it a point to provide. We really are proud of being just kind of a hub of information to people in the area, so that they know they can call us if they need any kind of legal help. Because I think, generally speaking, the public, they don't really know what kind of lawyer they need. They just know they need to call a lawyer and then figure it out from there. So people, if we're friendly and nice enough to them and helpful enough, they'll save our number and remember us so that we can be, I guess, a directory for them and get them in the right direction.
Oh, that's great. How much do you feel like this has contributed to the growth of your firm?
I think if we didn't do this, we wouldn't be where we're at today. And we're at a good spot. And we've gotten a good number of clients and referrals. And, it's just like a branch of a tree, just keeps on building out. So it's been huge.
Is there any, competition amongst the attorneys in your firm? Like, who can get the most, or not necessarily show the most empathy, but are there some people in the firm that just seem to be a lot better at this than others?
I think we're all really good at it. We all make it a point to help out. Are there people that are better than others? Yeah, I think just generally speaking, people, there's some are take more time than others to give help. But I think that just comes with their nature, that some people are more thorough than others, or some are more direct than others. But just overall, I think everybody here does a great job of just providing assistance as best they can.
So what's next in your plan? Where do you want to take this with your firm?
The next step, the growth isn't as important to me as providing good service to clients. And I think I've noticed that the more we expand, the more difficult it is to continue to provide the same level of service. So I think where we're at right now is good, but if we can continue to expand, like maybe to Central California or Northern California, that would be nice to see. But the focus is going to stay just making sure that the clients that we do have, we provide the best service possible, and we just continue to find ways to make our service and results the best.
Okay. So what areas do you serve, by the way, for listeners of the call? Where in California do you help?
So we're in Southern California. We focus on LA County, Orange County. We do get some clients also like San Bernardino County, Riverside. We have a satellite office in Oceanside, San Diego County. So we're focused on Southern California, but I think, with some time we can expand to like Central and Northern, but time will tell.
Okay. And last thing, since you are empathetic and you provide good service, what's it like for you when you get service from other vendors and other people out in the world? Does it irk you? Or do you feel like the level of service in general amongst a lot of companies is good or bad? Like, how does this personally affect your daily living?
With my daily living, when I receive bad service, I'm not upset. I kind of have patience with it. I think everybody's going through something. So if I get bad service from a receptionist or cashier or waitress or waiter, just be patient with them. They might be going through something, and I don't take it personally. But when I get good service from anyone, whether it's a service or if it's someone like helping me out at my house or to the office, and like a plumber or an electrician, I'm very eager and enthusiastic to leave them a good review. Like, it's one of my favorite things to do is just leave the best review for these folks, because I know how much it helps, and I know how hard they work for it. And it's just like, I don't know, maybe if I take like 5 minutes of my time to leave them a great review, like the return on my 5 minutes is tremendous. I mean, the benefit doesn't go to me, it goes to them, but still, like, I'm creating something that is a huge benefit with such a little amount of time.
Well, that's really cool. That's fantastic, So it seems like it also just brings you a higher level of happiness than I've seen in a lot of attorneys that just, I don't know, unfortunately just seem to have like a negative bent on things. You seem to be, more at peace and just, again, a bit happier than a lot of ones I've spoken to.
Oh, well, yeah, thank you. I try to be happy.
Right on. Okay. Well, very good. So your website for people to contact you, should they want to, what is it? Let's give them some information.
Yeah, my website is lemgarcialaw.com, and my email, feel free to email me, lem@lemgarcialaw.com, and my Instagram handle is @lemgarcialaw.
And Lem is Lem, right?
Correct, Lem.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Well, Lem, thanks so much for coming on the call and, spilling all your secrets and everything. And I think it's a really great, virtuous thing you're doing. So appreciate you.
Oh, appreciate you. Thanks so much for having me.
If you like this podcast, please click the link in the description to subscribe and review us on iTunes.
You've been listening to the Finding Genius podcast with Richard Jacobs. If you like what you hear, be sure to review and subscribe to the Finding Genius podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And want to be smarter than everybody else? Become a premium member at findinggeniuspodcast.com. This podcast is for information only. No advice of any kind is being given. Any action you take or don't take as a result of listening is your sole responsibility. Consult professionals when advice is needed.
In Orange County, we do get some clients also like San Bernardino County, Riverside. We have a satellite office in Oceanside, San Diego County. So we're focused on Southern California, but I think, with some time we can expand to like Central and Northern, but time will tell.
Okay. And last thing, since you are empathetic and you provide good service, what's it like for you when you get service from other vendors and other people out in the world? Does it irk you? Or do you feel like the level of service in general amongst a lot of companies is good or bad? Like, how does this personally affect your daily living?
With my daily living, when I receive bad service, I'm not upset. I kind of have patience with it. I think everybody's going through something. So if I get bad service from a receptionist or cashier or waitress or waiter, just be patient with them. They might be going through something, and I don't take it personally. But when I get good service from anyone, whether it's a service or if it's someone like helping me out at my house or to the office and, like a plumber or an electrician, I'm very eager and enthusiastic to leave them a good review. Like, it's one of my favorite things to do is just leave the best review for these folks because I know how much it helps and I know how hard they work for it. And it's just like, I don't know, maybe if I take like 5 minutes of my time to leave them a great review, like the return on my 5 minutes is tremendous. I mean, the benefit doesn't go to me, it goes to them, but still, like, I'm creating something that is a huge benefit with such a little amount of time.
Well, that's really cool. That's fantastic, So it seems like it also just brings you a higher level of happiness than I've seen in a lot of attorneys that just, I don't know, unfortunately just seem to have like a negative bent on things. You seem to be, more at peace and just, again, a bit happier than a lot of ones I've spoken to.
Oh, well, yeah, thank you. I try to be happy.
Right on. Okay. Well, very good. So your website for people to contact you, should they want to, what is it? Let's give them some information.
Yeah, my website is lemgarcialaw.com, and my email, feel free to email me, lem@lemgarcialaw.com, and my Instagram handle is @lemgarcialaw.
And Lem is Lem, right?
Correct, Lem.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Well, Lem, thanks so much for coming on the call and, spilling all your secrets and everything. And I think it's a really great, virtuous thing you're doing. So appreciate you.
Oh, appreciate you. Thanks so much for having me.
If you like this podcast, please click the link in the description to subscribe and review us on iTunes.
You've been listening to the Finding Genius podcast with Richard Jacobs. If you like what you hear, be sure to review and subscribe to the Finding Genius podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And want to be smarter than everybody else? Become a premium member at findinggeniuspodcast.com. This podcast is for information only. No advice of any kind is being given. Any action you take or don't take as a result of listening is your sole responsibility. Consult professionals when advice is needed. If you like what you hear, be sure to review and subscribe to the Finding Genius podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And want to be smarter than everybody else? Become a premium member at findinggeniuspodcast.com. This podcast is for information only. No advice of any kind is being given. Any action you take or don't take as a result of listening is your sole responsibility. Consult professionals when advice is needed. as a result of listening is your sole responsibility. Consult professionals when advice is needed.